So let's talk about a referral we've had for the Get Connected project. It is a man who is living in the Hart Rushmoor area, and Ali, I believe he's got a learning disability.
That's right. So he was referred to us from the learning disability team as having autism and a learning disability.
Yeah, and he's living in Hart Rushmoor. And the reason for the referral was what?
This man was very anxious about COVID, and like a lot of people that we've helped recently, obviously had to withdraw and was finding it hard to get connected again with social activities.
Okay.
So he was being withdrawn, and his family were worried about him.
Okay, so I understand that he lives in the family home with older family carers.
That's right.
And he was eligible or is eligible for local authority support, but I believe his assessed care needs were being met by the family, so he's not actually receiving any paid support at the moment.
That's right. I mean, I think he was having some phone call support, but he wasn't finding that helpful. The phone calls didn't work for him.
Okay, so we got the referral. We responded really quickly. You made an appointment through the family to go and see him, met with him, and talked about what exactly did you talk about?
So I think, first of all, they were very pleased that I could go and visit them in their own home. This man was still quite anxious, so he really appreciated being able to have his mum with him in the room and be within his own setting. So we could keep it quite friendly and relaxed and just give him an opportunity to speak at his own pace and with the support of his mum. So he just shared from his point of view and again prompted by his mum about sharing his anxieties. He talked about what his life used to be like before COVID, what it was like now, and then his mum was saying, trying to prompt him to say, where would you like it to go next? What support do you want to do to get to the next point?
Okay, so you formed a sort of a loose plan with him and family, and I believe he's been reconnected back to old activities that he used to do.
That's right. So he told me a little bit about what he did before COVID, and he was very independent, going out on the bus on his own, had lots of different social activities that he was going to. So we looked at those. Not all of those are still in place, and so one of the big things that we did was update him on what was still in place and what things had changed. So we knew from our own local knowledge that some of the groups had stopped, some of the groups had changed hands, there were different people running them, and some of the groups were still on Zoom. So we were able to update on what the situation was 2 years down the line, and also make those personal recommendations and those personal connections to help him to sort of feel a bit more at ease about who he was going to meet.
Yeah, so because we know people, we know groups, we know personnel involved, so he could talk about old friends, and we were able to say, obviously subject to GDPR and consent, but we were able to talk about, oh yes, that person's still around, or no, this new person runs a group and we know them. So getting an endorsement almost from us around, yep, that group's still running, it's all, this is restarted, was helpful to him and family.
Absolutely. One of the groups that he used to be part of had moved location and had a different person running it. So we were able to organise for him to go and meet that new leader in the different setting at a time that was quieter, not when there were lots of other people around, which he found quite welcoming. And we also found out that he was really enjoying being a volunteer at a cafe. He had been told that organisation wasn't running it anymore, but we had the background information that someone else was organising it, so we were able to make that connection.
Okay, great. So the local knowledge really helped with this person and their family. Yeah. So he's back doing some things that he was enjoying before COVID, and everything's going okay, is it?
Absolutely. So he's still quite anxious, so it's slowly, but we can go at his pace. He's beginning to join those groups again, and beginning to reach out to his volunteering roles again, but with that sort of us holding his hand or us, helping him along the way.
So the advocacy involvement has given him that personal touch, and also the confidence boost that maybe him and his family needed, and the encouragement around you can actually return to things and start again almost, or reconnect and rejoin things.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it was good to meet the family, to look at some of the wider issues as well, because that was the issue that came up on the referral. But talking to the family, there were wider issues as well to talk about. For instance, he's interested in maybe looking at work placements in the future. The family were concerned about future planning needs from their point of view. So we were able to start looking at some of those issues as well.
Great. And putting people in touch with carers organisations and emergency care planning. So stuff that the caseworker and the learning disability team maybe had already done, but the fact that we're sat with somebody, taking the time around doing something positive with them about reconnecting to activities, meant that we might be saying something that someone else has already said a million times, but they're all of a sudden hearing it and thinking, oh yeah, maybe we can look into this a bit more.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, and I think this man and his family, to a certain extent, their well-being had been negatively impacted by him not going out and about.
Absolutely, yeah.
So hopefully there's some positives around his mental health, his physical well-being, and the families as well, as a result of what we've been able to do.
Yeah, I think the family are just really pleased to see him getting back to where he was pre-COVID.
Okay, and that's something that the caseworker and the learning disability team have just not been able to do because they don't have the time, and also they don't have the local knowledge necessarily to do that, which is why they made the referral to us.
Yes, yeah.
So great. And I think there are some quite a few people that follow that pattern around reconnecting.
Absolutely.
Which we're able to help with. Brilliant. So it's interesting also to have a quick think while we wrap up this conversation about what might have happened to him and his family if he hadn't have been reconnected back into those community activities.
Yeah,
so we think about family, family breakdown, placement breakdown potentially, paid services having to go in, respite, NHS, GPs, specialist learning disability health teams.
Yes. And I think families are noticing with the people that aren't going out, it's having an effect on their physical health as well, which is a big concern. And they're just getting more and more insular, and the longer they leave it, the harder it is then to reconnect again to social activities.
Okay, great. So good work all round, hopefully.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.